Hi, I'm Shadi.
And hello, my name is Lydia, and we are here today to speak about Are You OK Day. But first, before we begin, we would like to acknowledge that we are making this video on the land of the Kulin Nations.
Always was, always will be Aboriginal land. Born wrong, why we're wrong, Aboriginal land. Don't know the wrong and wave a rule, Aboriginal land. Near yellow or wrong, Aboriginal land. Judge over wrong, what over wrong, Aboriginal land. Watching my blicky got your feet upon Aboriginal land. Cause always was, always will be Aboriginal land.
Hey, you mob, it's okay to ask.
If you're okay.
Lydia, I've just got a question for you, just so we can get started. What does Are You OK Day mean to you?
Are You OK Day is an annual day, the 10th of September, I believe it is, each year, that we reinforce a culture, basically, to ask people, are you okay? So it's not that we choose this day to ask people, are you okay? And then we move on to the 11th and just keep going with our lives. It's just reinforcing a culture that we should practice this every single day.
We should be asking each other every single day, keeping up with those around us, those close to us, but even more so, probably the people that are a little bit more distant, that might need that extra little bit of support to know that you're out there caring for them, knowing that you're still thinking of them, that you're still loving them, even though you may not speak every day, but you're still there. And knowing that they can rely on you as a support.
That's right. Yeah, and as per the website, it does say it's a national day of action, they say, where we remind Australians that every day is the day to ask, are you okay? If someone in your world is struggling with life's ups and downs. Life's ups and downs, sorry. Yeah, and so what do you think? I think, we look at the times that we're living in right now. Obviously, this is something that goes beyond 2020, but, we're all experiencing COVID right now. So what do you think is the relevance in particular with this movement and this year?
This year probably means, are you okay? Probably means more to people than most years, because on top of our normal struggles, we've got this unprecedented virus which is running around and causing mayhem and chaos in people's lives, like whether it's that you've lost a job, or to us, is that it's disrupted our school year. So it's about new challenges, but how to overcome those challenges, but also our friends around us, when we're all supporting each other. And it's the only way to do it, is to support each other to be able to get through it. So during COVID, it's all about keeping up with your friends, checking up on them, and using social media as a positive network to be able to check up on each other. It's never been easier to check up on each other than in this day and age, where we all have access to internet. We all have access to social media. We have access to video calling free of charge, not like where we used to have to pay a substantial amount to be able to send photos and videos to each other. So we should be using it as a positive to be checking up on each other, to do all the right things, and to stay connected.
Definitely. Yeah. And, with coronavirus, it's also important to mention that, sometimes, putting coronavirus aside for one moment, I think sometimes people feel deterred or discouraged from reaching out to people about their situation because they feel as if their struggle or their suffering is invalid. And so why I mention this is because, COVID-19 is a collective thing that we're suffering in society. But I want to remind people that just because that's the case, it doesn't mean that, the challenge that it poses to you isn't valid. So yes, other people might be dealing with COVID, but we're all being impacted in unique ways. And don't let that discourage you from reaching out to people if you need, and also from asking someone if they're okay.
Yeah, we're all going through this together. If there is something bringing you down, don't be scared. We all go through things, and it's more of a pay it forward. I go through something and someone else helps me out, best you can do is to pay it forward to someone else and ask them if they're okay.
As you know, there are a lot of different ways that, a lot of different things that we can use to serve our mental health and well-being. And I think one of those ones, which is a really powerful one, is the arts. And given you're a DJ, I wanted to ask, do you use that as a way to serve your mental health and well-being in any way?
Yeah, most definitely. I've been DJing for almost 10 years now, and I always see that DJing and music is an escape for me. So whenever I get to be a DJ, get in my zone, it's really just a clear headspace for me. It's a way to get away, but it's a way to also express my feelings. And I've got the opportunity to play whatever genre I like.
Yeah.
So, if I'm feeling down, I get to play music that relates to me. If I'm feeling happy and energized, I get to play music that also relates to me. So that's been really good for me. What about yourself, Lydia? I know that you're into a little bit of arts and a little bit of you're changing it up these days. So tell me a little bit about how it helps with you.
I think that the arts in general is something that I'd definitely lean on a lot. For one, I would say drawing is really therapeutic for me. So just picking up a pencil or a pen and just scribbling, I find that I get so immersed into that zone that I do forget about what else is going around me, and it's a really therapeutic moment. But on top of that, dancing is definitely my thing. So when I'm working on assignments, I literally would stop at the 1 hour mark and just put my earphones in, play a song and just dance in front of the mirror and just go for it. And then I'll just go back to the desk for another hour. So all of these things are it's letting energy out, it's escaping, it's relating, like you say. So I do believe that the arts is a really powerful way to serve as a preventative measure, but also a treatment for mental health and well-being. Speaking of, we actually are blessed today to have an artist from Brimbank come and visit us and bless us with her art. Her name is Akwal Magek. She is a spoken word artist from the western suburbs, and she does spoken word poetry, as I said, which focuses on her struggles of identity and self-love. So we'd love to welcome aboard Akwal Magek. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, we're really good. Thank you for asking.
Well, today I had time to write a poem about self-love and how I know that during these years, a lot of young people and a lot of older people have had troubles accepting themselves and loving themselves because of all the media and how society expects them to look like and all that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
No, that's really powerful, especially, sorry, I was going to say with our, we have such a big first generation Australian population here. So I think that a lot of us definitely have that sort of identity struggle. So it's great to see that you're addressing that issue that many of us can relate to.
So my poem is called Self-Love. I wrote it at a time where I thought a lot of people needed that motivation of loving themselves, because in today's society, a lot of people don't actually have a lot of self-love because the media expects people to look a type of way and feel a type of way about how they look. And I thought it was really important for me to write this piece called Self-Love. We live in a society where the acceptance of others make us valuable, but yet we do not seek acceptance from ourselves. We learn to love others from head to toe, but we can barely look at our own reflection. When it comes to self-love, we can say that we lack the ability to love. We are becoming cold-blooded animals, creatures that depend on their environment to live. Their admiration becomes shelter. Their compliments become blankets. Their affection become fire. We sit beside people who give us validation as a means of heat. We live in a society that expects us to seek acceptance from those who can barely accept themselves. In a culture where plastic and cosmetic surgery are a way of embracing who you are. And a version of you is not good enough until it ticks society's invisible boxes of attractiveness. In a culture where hating ourselves has become the norm. Self-abasement, self-denigration, and self-disgust. Cold-blooded animals is what we are. Where if we accept our flaws, we are seen as flaws. Where beauty standards must be met. When females have to be 5'5" with a skinny waist, pretty face, and looking fine. When males are expected to be above 6 foot, built like Arnold and looking like Chris Hemsworth. Cold-blooded animals are what we have been taught to be, where we look at individuals as gods and ourselves as dirt beneath their feet, where diets have become sacrifices, beauty products have become rituals, and love no longer exists. We starve ourselves, we overfeed ourselves, we manipulate our faces and bodies and wonder why we are not good enough. We are in an endless cycle of hatred because we do not seem to understand that love comes from within. Cold-blooded animals are what we are. When we learn to create heat within ourselves, we teach ourselves how to love ourselves, learn how to generate heat within ourselves. We become warm-blooded animals. The need of admiration, compliments, and acceptance will be found within us. We will not need validation from others to feel beautiful. The eyes of many will not validate our beauty. Do not conform to society, as Rita May once said. The reward of conformity is that everyone likes you except for yourself. Thank you.
That was beautiful. I think I saw Shadi laughing at the Arnold.
Yeah. I felt like it sort of related to me, considering I'm not 6 foot or Arnold looking,
Right.
but it's a very true, spoken word poem. It actually does relate to today's society.
Definitely. Definitely.
Aqual, I've just got a question for you. How does your art relate to your mental health? Does it help? How does it allow you to release?
That's actually a good question. I used to be in like a really bad state of mind when I was like in high school because VCE doesn't really support mental health because it's very like draining, and like they always expect you to get like a 90 ATAR when like realistically you can do 60, 80 at the time because you're so focused on getting everything done. And at the time I didn't really look after my mental health that much. I didn't meditate, I didn't keep a journal, even like a gratitude journal. And so like when I graduated, it went down the drain rapidly. So like I was depressed a lot of the times in like year 12 all the way to like uni. And like I found that writing really helped me. It cleared my mind. Every night I would just write nonsense, how I felt that day, what happened that week. I would just write. And like every day I just felt like I was refreshed because everything that I was feeling was already on a piece of paper, and I could look at that and be like, that's how I was feeling that day. Damn, how are you gonna feel today? And so I always motivated myself to write every night so I can like reflect on that and see how I can make myself feel better over time. So like I started meditating, I started like a gratitude journal. So I thank writing so much because if it wasn't for writing, I'd be like hella depressed.
Thank you for that. This will actually be seen by high school students. So that was really good that you touched on the reality of the stress that's experienced as a VCE student, something that we can all really relate to. So and I guess the next question for us was, do you feel comfortable to ask people, are you okay? And if so, how do you go about approaching it?
I'm a bit like a big advocate for people like having a good mental state of mind, especially because I always feel the need to check up on my friend and be like, essentially like their diary. If they want to vent to me, they can vent to me and just like let all their emotions out. And it's like, good, what are you going to do from here on out? And like, I think it's pretty hard for people to ask other people if they're okay. Because in reality, we don't know what their response will be. Because they can be like, oh, I'm not okay. This happened and I don't know how to handle it. And as individuals, we find it hard to help the person if we don't know how we can help them and what way we can support them. So like, I think a lot of people, and myself do struggle with asking people if they're okay, if they're like outside my friendship group. And like, but I do try to ask people if they're okay or if they need any support, especially during COVID and like this time, it would be hard for a lot of people. But I think like one step I personally would take to ask people how they are, it would be like, how are you traveling? So they can give me any response. And I think how are you traveling is a really good way to ask people how they're going. Because like, you don't know how they will like interpret it. It could be like, how are you traveling? It could be like, yeah, no, I don't know what you mean by that. I travel by bus. I'm good. I don't know. And like, you can actually start a conversation like that. And I think
I
that's
get that.
one good step.
Yeah, so it's like you give them permission to lean into vulnerability if they choose to. And if not, the wording of that question allows them to respond in a casual manner as well. Is that
Yeah.
sort of, yeah. Okay, cool. And I guess just to touch on what you were saying earlier with regards to struggling to sometimes ask that question to people that you're not close to, I think, if we can all develop a culture where we at least check in on those that we do have that relationship with, which is something that you are comfortable doing, then I think that would really make a difference. So thank you for that insight. We really appreciate it. And thank you for your beautiful spoken word performance. That was amazing as well. And yeah, Shadi, did you have any final words that you wanted to say to Akwal before?
Nah, that was an amazing performance, and good luck on your journey, and wishing you all the best in the future.
You too, guys. Thank you so
Thanks.
much for having me.
So our next guest is Luke, and he's from Headspace in Melton. Headspace is a youth organisation that works with young people aged from 12 to 25 years old, as well as their families and their friends. Headspace covers many things such as mental wellness, physical health, alcohol and other drugs, and educational and vocational support. They also provide a holistic approach to well-being. So Luke from Headspace, he works as a community awareness officer at Headspace, and he's heavily present in the community, facilitating workshops, presentations, and he even works on different projects and facilitates youth participation in the Melton area. Hi, Luke. Welcome today. Thank you for coming on board. How are you?
Hi, Lee and Shadi. Thank you for having me. I'm doing good, thank you.
Yeah, Luke. Thanks for joining us today. But a more important question is, why have you decided to join us today on our show?
Yeah, so with community awareness, a large part of my role is being out and about in the community, as Lee has said. I guess with Are You OK Day coming up, would usually be doing face-to-face stuff with kids during their lunchtime or during a period during the school day for Are You OK Day. I guess with COVID-19 happening, obviously we're working from home. We felt it was pretty important to still have those discussions and having some type of engagement around Are You OK Day? And I guess just remind everyone that obviously Are You OK Day is one day to kind of take away the conversation, the skills that we're going to talk about today to implement every day. They're going when working from home or learning from home as well. So what to say to your mates, how to approach the situation, and what to do if they say they're not doing okay.
Yeah, awesome. And I think I love how you touched on the fact that despite the fact COVID is happening right now and we have inevitable restrictions around how we can communicate, that Headspace is still working on ways that we can keep up this movement, because it's definitely important. And so that's my next question would be, what are some signs that you guys have recognized are appropriate signs to deem that someone might not be doing too well?
I think one that might be pretty frequent today, if someone seems a bit withdrawn or not themselves. So just for example, if you're regularly chatting to them on Messenger, Facebook, Instagram, or any app, or even via text, and I guess they're not responding as they normally would, or their answers are quite short and I guess distance and not direct. Other examples might be if you know they're going for a rough time, so they might be having problems at home with their family, might be having relationship problems, school might be doing extra tough at the moment. I think you're just going about your relationship, thinking about what's happening in their own personal lives and how they're acting. If they're not themselves, they might be agitated, or even the way they're acting when you do talk to them, or the things they're saying, they might not seem like themselves. So picking up a little signs of what they're doing, what's going on in their lives, and what they're saying as well.
Yeah, I think it's more about just not looking at the surface anymore, just to really be attentive to your mates around you. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, exactly right.
Perfect. And probably a really hard question for a lot of us to understand is, how do you actually ask, are you okay?
Yeah, that's a great one. I think the most important thing to do is be prepared. So think about how you're going to ask the question. So it might not necessarily be saying directly, are you okay? It might be asking in a way that you usually ask, maybe like, how have things been? how you're going, what's new. And I guess in saying that, reflecting on like, if you're going to have that conversation with your mates, how would you want to be asked as well? And just keep it as natural as possible. I think when the question's out there, I think that's the hardest part. And following up in asking, are you okay, is judging a response. So you obviously know if they want to talk, taking that time to read it and listen, not just saying, are you okay? And being like, oh, I asked them, I've done my job. Actually taking the time, listen attentively, paying attention, nodding, repeating what they're saying back to them. Just, I guess, it's to show that you're listening, show that you're trying to understand from their perspective, and I guess in their own perspective as well, so that words that they're saying make sense to them as well. And I guess next step in asking how you're okay is, I guess, if they're not okay, is encouraging action. And I think, so following on from asking, are you okay, is asking what they might want to do next. So follow-up might be suggesting something that's helped you in the past, or having a think in their own personal lives. Hey, I realize you're going through this tough time. What are the things that you're doing, or what are some things that you might do that might help the current situation? Another situation might be if you know that there's other mates or other family members who might have noticed similar things, reaching out to them. So either suggesting to that person that they reach out to these particular people, or maybe supporting that person by going and talking like, hey, my mate's not going for a good time at the moment. Can we get your help? We're a bit stuck on where to go next, that type of thing. I guess, yeah, just another important thing to note is that you don't have to fix the problem in terms of asking, are you okay? And I think that's where a lot of the burden comes from as well. So an example might be asking, after asking, are you okay, is like, what can I do for you? What do you need right now? And in asking, okay, when giving the response, don't judge their own experience, what they're going through, or how they react as well. But I guess acknowledge the reality of what's happening for them at the time. Like if they say something like, yeah, things aren't good at the moment, but I'm not ready to talk about it, or I'm not sure what to say, or I don't feel comfortable, give them that time, and I guess sit patiently with that person as well.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Luke.
No worries. Thank you for having me.
We couldn't thank you enough for your work that you're doing in the community and helping us out. So good luck for your upcoming projects, and we're hoping that everything goes well with you and your team.
Thanks, Lee and Shadi. Cheers.
So we've heard from Aqual, the spoken word artist. We're now going to hear from another artist, and his name is Damon Paraha. He's also known as Nomad, and he is a hip hop and spoken word artist in the Melbourne West. Although born and raised in Victoria, Nomad, or Damon, is Samoan and of Maori descent. And at 22 years old, he uses his craft as a way to unpack the issues that he faces on a daily basis. Hey, Damon, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, really good. Thank you for joining us today. Is it spoken word, or is it rapping? What are you sharing with us today?
Yeah, so I've got some songs that I was going to rap for you guys today, and if there's enough time, I might share a spoken word as well. But yeah, we'll just see how it goes with that.
Yeah, no worries. All right, yeah. Take it away when you're ready.
Cool. So this first piece is called White Lies, and I wrote this a couple months ago, but I wanted to share it today given the current situation happening over in Kenosha in the States at the moment. And yeah, hope you guys enjoy it.
Australia has its own challenges when it comes to some of the issues that have been raised, and we'll continue to work them. These are terrifying and horrible scenes. They're very distressing scenes. And again, thank goodness we live in Australia. When Australia was established, yeah, sure, it was a pretty brutal settlement. My forefather and forefathers were on the first and second fleets. It was a pretty brutal place, but there was no slavery in Australia.
Hey, how can we know peace? Tell me, what is it? If you ain't taught love, then how can you know to give it? We riot because we fighting to change the world we live in. Y'all say that ain't the way. Y'all never heard of a sit-in? I can't believe in heaven they won't allow me to visit. Believe what you see, speak what you know. We be who we be, and we reap what we sow. Saying Black Lives Matter, we just want a fair go, and that's the bottom line. If you believe that all lives matter, then why ain't you just as mad? And if you want to side quiet, then you just as bad as slave masters and fake. That'll have you think that you just some thug cause of a hoodie. That's why we in the streets with signs like what's goody. We been having peaceful protests, but go guess, have we even made much progress? No, yes. Prison is supposed to be for rehabilitating and not so much about a man's freedom getting taken. And I ain't got no beef unless we speaking about the bacon. I know why some people want to put some pigs in a blanket, and no, I ain't promoting it. I'm only saying I can understand why they so mad at what Derek Chauvin did and George Zimmerman and all the other murderers that's getting paid a pension and vacate leave after slaughtering a man, yelling they can't breathe. Man, no wonder why some people want to take TVs. They take lives over fake CDs. Power tripping with the badge and a gun trying to make me bleed. I'm about to draw the lines you can read between the ish. If you on the other side, I can reason with her. Try to open up your eyes, spit the truth and quit the lies. We should all be colorblind till it's freedom for the kids. And yo, tell the PME should pick up a book and take a look at what his granddaddy probably took. Trying to cover up the truth like it's all good, man. And let me guess, he's probably wanting to make Australia great again. Ring any bells? Look at the continent they colonized. Captain Cook claiming they civilized. Civilized, huh? You ever wonder why they call that a white lie? Think about it.
Thank you. Yeah, once again, you're a crazy artist. Thank you so much. We wanted to ask you a question on topic with today's conversation around Are You Okay? Do you feel comfortable to ask your friends or people close to you if they're okay? And if so, how do you go about it?
Yeah, definitely. And it's like that's been a major conversation in like this second half of my life so far. And yeah, I always try and make a point to open that conversation with my friends. I know that especially as men, it can be quite difficult to talk about these topics and open up to each other because there is that fear that, you know, being a man, there's a certain standard that you have to hold yourself to. But yeah, I feel it's important for everyone to feel like they can talk about what they're going through and express what they're going through, find different methods like music, like we spoke about before, to cope with what we're going through. And yeah, it just depends on who I'm speaking to, on how I'd frame the question, but usually it is the simple, are you okay?
Thank you so much, Damon.
Yeah, thank you.
Your words actually really hit a spot, and I can, like I said before, the passion that you have in being able to express yourself through spoken word or through rap really shows. And I'm glad that you've been able to find a way that you can express yourself and that makes you feel comfortable. And it also makes you feel like you can ask your friends around you the ultimate question here, which is, are you okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for joining us today. You've been amazing. We've really enjoyed consuming your art, but also hearing you speak. Yeah, and we just hope that you continue doing what you're doing. Thank you so much, Damon. Take care.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Sometimes life is just great. You get the things you want and everything goes according to plan. There are times when life rolls along really well and it's possible to succeed at keeping a lot of things on the go. But life can also be complex, difficult, messy, overwhelming, and we can't always handle everything that happens. But don't let a setback get you down. It's worth persevering, even if sometimes you need to make things a bit simpler for yourself. Slow down just a little bit. You can still do things well if you keep trying, and don't worry about how a past version of yourself thought things should be going by now. Circumstances change. We adapt. But even still, we can't keep up all the time. But we can keep doing our best at the things that matter the most. And sometimes all you can manage is to just be. Just exist. Just breathe. And that's okay too. It's okay not to be okay. and to need someone to talk to. So don't be afraid to ask for help when times are hard. Who knows, the person you talk to may have just what you need to get you back on your feet again.
So that was amazing. We've heard from some really interesting people today. We've heard from artists who described to us how they use their craft to serve their mental health and well-being. We've heard from Luke from Headspace, who's given us a very informative-based talk about how we can address the "Are you okay?" question. And yeah, I mean, I guess I want to ask you, Shadi, how are you? Are you okay?
I'm very well. During the COVID period, what I did was I set up a network of friends.
Mm-hmm.
We all made a promise to each other to continuously check up on each other. So I think that's been my best way to be able to check up on my mates and to make sure that I'm okay. So I'll flick that question back to you, Lydia. Are you okay?
Thank you. I like that. I like that you've actually created a culture of asking, are you okay? That's really nice. Maybe I should adopt that with my friends too. But I think, well, for me, I am okay. It's been a heavy week in terms of just assignments and just responsibilities, but it's good. I feel like I've managed to just stay on top of it all. But I am okay because, I'm blessed to have the support that I need around me. And I just hope that, like you said, we can extend it, like pass that on to someone else. So I've definitely taken something away from today, and that is to continuously check up on people around me. And yeah, I think, you and I were looking at a quote that we thought was suitable to kind of end off with. And it was, kindness doesn't cost anything, but its value is beyond measurement to the recipient.
Thank you, Lydia, for that amazing quote. And what a way to finish off our show today. Thank you all for tuning in. Also, thank you to the Brimbank Council Neighbourhood House Unit, the Dream Big Project, and Headspace. Take care of yourselves.
Yeah, thank you guys. Take care of yourselves and we'll catch you soon. See ya.